Hello and welcome back to Post Finem. Now, I have been given early access to the 1.1 update, which brings some really rather necessary changes to the trade map mode. Italia is now no longer overwhelmingly dominant, and there's also a little bit of a change up in the north here with the Celtic Sea, Ringed and Saxony. I believe Saxony is also now a end node, which is kind of interesting. There's also multiple new mission trees added to the mod, and some new formables too. But we're not going to be over here, right? Europe is definitely the center point of Post Finem, but for today, we are going to go across the waves, colonizing Iceland, then we go and colonize Greenland, and then there's a colony right here, the lost Norse colony of Vinland, and that is who we are going to be playing in this series. So let's get into it. Our ancestors first arrived on these shores some 4 centuries ago, their minds filled with hopes of warmer climates and plentiful food. Their wishes did come true at first. The land, now known as Vinland, was found to be covered in berries and vines, creating a most potent beverage unlike anything else back in Europe, and its shores were found bountiful in salmon and other fish. But in the years since, these supplies have only dwindled. The settlements here, mostly founded by Leif Erikson, were intended to be little more than temporary dwellings, where Norsemen would stay while gathering timber and supplies to take back to the more needy Greenland colonies. Trade with the north and across Iceland was prosperous for some time, and somewhat regular contact was maintained between the people of Vinland and Europe, despite the technical difficulties. From the beginning of the 14th century, however, this would all change. The climate worsened and the grapevines died, almost as if the gods had begun to resent this once lush land. On the horizon, the ice sheets grew and the waters between us and Greenland became ever more treacherous due to an increasing amount of icebergs and winter storms. First, our links with Iceland went dark. The last group of Icelanders to arrive on these shores came some 50 years before the present, and departed as swiftly as they had arrived upon seeing the state of the place. Then the last ships from Greenland came. Even that desolate waste seemed more viable than the Vinland colonies, and in the years that followed, many of our people tried to sail back to Greenland's shores. Whether they were successful or not, we do not know, but perhaps half the population of the colony, mostly the younger men, have tried to flee. As the 15th century draws to its apex, things are looking dire for the people of Vinland. Of the remaining population, scarcely no one even remembers the sight of a European face, and many have started to treat them as more legendary than true. Even the gods we've so diligently performed sacrifices for seem to have abandoned us to the cold embrace of death. The future of the colony is certain. We will all die here, crumbling into the earth like the crooked shelters our ancestors built on these wind-swept hills. All hope is lost. And now what we get here, of course, after losing stability and getting a really rather horrible stability cost modifier, is we get the death grip of winter modifier on our capital and on our only province, which, among other things like the attrition, gives us +4 monthly devastation. And if we reach 100 devastation, we game over. And now, I might be wrong, I don't know absolutely everything with this game and with every mod that's ever been released for it, but I believe this is the only example of a losing condition in EU4 that doesn't involve being annexed. If we hit 100 devastation, we game over, it's gone, we lose. But that's completely irrelevant of any other tags in the world. We don't even know of anyone else in the world. So, yeah, that's something unique, I think, and I like unique things. It's something to be praised. So yeah, we need to get some shapes on and get rid of this horrible death grip of winter modifier. And of course, we need to look into the mission tree to see where we need to go to remove that. And what we need to do is feed the people. This here will give us the removal of the death grip of winter modifier. So we need to get here. We need 300 ducats. And we need 15 ships. We need to have 2 stability, which, considering we just lost 1 and have a horrible modifier, is quite annoying. We also need to make our ruler a general, find some natives and make them love us, and then allow ourselves to marry with them, because I guess our population is very, very small. And finally, of course, we also need to colonize all the provinces in the Labrador area, which I believe is this and 2 other provinces, but I'm not entirely certain. Of course, we are Norse, naturally, so we can choose a deity. And while there are some really good deities in here, construction cost and tech cost is amazing, Njord for trade efficiency and goods produced is amazing, we really need the stability cost modifier, because without it, we're probably not going to be able to get to stability. So let us select this pretty much instantaneously, and then finish our first mission in the mission tree by giving our ruler military command. He's terrible. That's... obviously he's terrible. And unfortunately, when he dies, I'm going to lose another stability. So that also kinda sucks. But that does mean we've finished our first mission. Embark on a daring expedition into the uncharted wilderness of Vinland, where untold challenges and opportunities await. And for this, we lose some money, we lose some military points, but we gain a conquistador with 30 tradition. Which is interesting, but we needed a our ruler needed to be a general so that we could get another general. I'm okay, if you say so. Times are tough for us Vinlanders. Just when the whole world seems to be turning against us, we have a chance to make a true home for ourselves out here in this wilderness. Our seer has advised we make contact with the native Skraelings, and that we just shall try to do. As the sun begins to rise, 24 of the men of Vinland, including Jarl Haldor, pack up their bags and food stocks and meet in the center of the place where Eriksson landed all those years ago. The expedition marks a new era for our people and our nation. So, I get horrible construction and development cost and mercenary cost. Which is annoying, because I also need to develop my capital to 5. Pretty much everything is setting you up for failure in this, I feel, which is interesting. But hey, I kind of want to click this button just real quick, just real swiftly. Wait a minute. Oh, I love it. They've removed the development cost edict. Oh, Chewy shoot, you beautiful bastard. I love it. Right now I hate it, but it's a great change. Alright, let's dev just the one time. Thankfully, our new conquistador, Geir Tryggvi, is really good with the 4 shock. So we'll have him go on a bit of an expedition and see if we can find anything exceptional. After a short boat ride across the wild seas, our expedition has landed on the southern slopes of that great forest we call Markland. Upon those desolate shores, they found nothing notable, just driftwood and a few ominous skeletons of various birds and the mammals. Turning inland, they began to make their way up the hillside, cutting through the thick foliage with their knives. More than once, they've had to fight off an aggressive lone wolf, scaring many of the men so much that they've often begged Haldor to turn back. We have come so far. There will be no going back home until our quest is complete. As twilight falls over the epic scenery and the sun falls behind the mountains, the group begin to set up a rudimentary camp on the snowy hillside. While out foraging, one of the men stopped something. Spotted, even. Spelled wrong. Anyway, a set of footprints in the snow, crisp and fresh. Nervous, the men look around, gripping their axes and swords, as if they would rather protect them from whoever is out there. Though we do not know who, there is clearly other humans out here in this desolate place. We will follow the trail and gain an prestige. And we will continue up through Markland. Our expedition party began the long trek up the mountainside, following in the general direction of the trail of footprints found the previous evening. The journey is arduous, and a biting wind blows down on them constantly, like the gnawing of Fenrir upon Odin's neck. Eventually, they reach the summit, and can finally get a good view of their brutal yet majestic surroundings. To the east, the great ocean sits silently, as if tempting them to come back to sea. To the west, an endless emerald sea of trees stretches as far as the eye can see, dotted by rocks and outcrops. There seems to be nothing here. No sign of civilization, or even animal life. Just as a deep sense of existential dread crawls over the men, one of them shouts that he has spotted something. Far to the south, on the slopes of the same mountain range they stand on, but much further down, the men can just barely make out a plume of smoke. This can only mean one thing. Somebody is out there. 2 prestige. As they walked through the shadowy forest, the expedition members cannot help but be afraid. They had every right to be. The darkness crept in from all sounds, and the silence was punctuated by nothing but the howls of wolves, some distant, some disturbingly close. There was nothing but the light of their torches to show the way. Searching for a suitable place to make camp, Haldor wanders off the path, squinting through the trees for even the slightest clearing. Suddenly there is a rustling in the bushes, and a great black shape emerges behind him. With a roar, the beast plunges its whole weight on him, its shape instantly being swallowed up by the ground. The men rush over to help, but as they approach, they see the terrifying face of a black bear, angrily staring back into the torchlight. Beneath it, Haldor lies motionless, his face half torn off and his body covered in bloody cuts. One of the men, enraged by the sight of his close friend being killed, grabs his axe from his belt and rushes towards the bear. With one paw, the beast takes him down, and the two struggle and writhe on the floor. At last, the other men gather the courage and stab and cut the bear repeatedly until it lets go of the poor man and runs back off into the forest, disappearing from view. The men stand around, startled and shaking. While the brave man with the axe might survive, there is no hope for Haldor. His life, much like the hopes of all Vinlanders, has been taken. Curse that foul beast. So I die, but I get beast slayers, even though the beast ran off. Infantry combat ability is quite nice. Please don't give me a lost stability, though. God damn it, game! Well, now we have Freydis ruling us. She has stability cost modifier, which is actually very, very useful. And we will once again praise Odin for even more stability cost modifier. That was unfortunate. From an early age, Freydis had to learn to fight to survive. Without her wit and intellect, however, she would have surely failed the harsh tests her father gave her. Despite the cruelty, he always maintained it was for her best interest. She never believed him, at least until he died. After Haldor was mauled to death by a bear out in the wilds of Markland, Freydis was left to succeed him as chiefess of the Vinlanders. They were initially hesitant to place a woman in such a position of power, but after she demonstrated her finely tuned fighting capabilities, there was no question as to whether she was the best candidate for the job. Some have begun calling her a shield maiden, following an old Norse tradition of warrior women. Despite her lack of specialist training in that field, many feel that her military skills should be recognized in some way. Others complain at her aggressive and tendency to lash out at people who annoy her, fearing that her temper will get in the way of good relations with local Skraelings. So I either need a warrior to lead us, and I become Shield Maiden, which I don't know what it does. Lose some prestige, but that's fine, because we gained 3 fighting the Black Bear. Or I gain a stability. Oh, but getting a +1 to each. She's 19, she'll live a long time. I feel like we gotta go with it. And she is a Shield Maiden, giving us plus 2.5% discipline and plus 10% morale damage. Very, very nice indeed. Stability would have been nice, but I guess we gotta just make do. After giving the previous expedition leader a proper burial as can be done out in this wild land, the men continued on in the direction they had previously seen the smoke. In the daylight, the forest was still treacherous, but at least now the overhanging branches and dangerous roots could be more easily seen ahead of one step. Sometime after midday, the party come across a small clearing, with what are clearly the remains of a burned-out fire and spots where animal skin tents were recently pitched. Whoever was here cannot have gone long. By the hooks of the size of the site, there are at least a dozen of them, probably more. Perhaps a roving tribe moving through these desolate areas in search of better land. There are clues abound as the men survey the area, leaving no stone unturned or leaf floor undisturbed, despite how shaken up they all are. Gain 3 prestige. Now, what we need to do is have troops in all of the provinces in Markland, and now we have finished another mission. Explore and map the dense forests of Markland, unveiling its secrets and resources for the benefit of Vinland's future. So I gain 50 Diplo points, and until the end of the game, these 3 provinces get +2 goods produced, which is quite delightful. Now I need to get my troops back together. Maybe you can wait until he arrives. Now, with those points, well, let's have a look at our capital, which has risen itself to 13 devastation. And now I would love to click a development button, but doing so would just, especially with admin, while I need to increase my stability, is just a terrible, terrible idea. So we're going to wait, and then we're going to use some Diplo points to do it. Not far from the campsite, the expedition finds exactly what they were looking for. A group of Skraelings, equal distributions, men and women, young and old, walking across a snowy plain just at the edge of a frozen lake. Dressed in their thick seal skins and holding their pointed spears, they appear quite menacing to our men, but there is nothing that could stop them from fulfilling their mission now. After a rocky start, a mutual agreement of truce is reached, and using hand signals alone, our men communicate their need to the chief of this little band. The natives agree, though it's begrudgingly after our party traded over some of their metal tools and axes. Before nightfall, our expedition party are in the audience of the local chief, but a small but powerful-looking old man, crouched with his family around a campfire, much like the one we'd seen earlier. Despite the difficulties in communication, they were able to get their message across, and agreed that our proposal in exchange for more metal goods. The Skraelings are even so generous as to offer them a safe place to sleep tonight. It appears our preconceptions of these people as violent savages is not completely the truth after all, and that together we can make something of a life in this wilderness. Can there be peace between our two peoples? So, I get the treaty with the Skraelings, which is going to give us trade efficiency and caravan power. Very nice indeed. And that is right here. Now that I've explored up the coast a little, what we're wanting to do now is march our army down to see who it is who lives down in the crook here. I don't know where this place is called, but we'll find out. And that is because I require an ally. I need to have a known country have their opinion of me at 150, and they need to be native. Or I guess I need to be native, but either it's not going to happen. So I need to find some natives and make them like me. So let us march down and see who we can find. Our expedition has faced a great many threats and tragedies, but somehow they've made it through it all, accomplishing their goal of establishing friendly relations with the local Skraelings. On their return, a great feast is held, and the whole population of Vinland come together to celebrate their survival and mourn the death of the chief. Perhaps, with this cooperation between our people and the natives, we could learn to live better in this land and survive through another winter. One day maybe our children's children will thrive amongst the snow. For now, however, we're no more saved than a salmon is saved when it's plucked from the sea by a Vinlandic fisherman. The struggle continues. I gained 20 prestige, and I have lost the expedition to find the Skraelings, which was giving me what? Oh, horrible modifiers. Yes, naturally, of course. We have found others. Here is the Stadacona tribe, and we are immediately going to try and improve relations with this band of people. We're going to also go and see who it is that lives here, and we'll see. Maybe they'll be even more amenable to a little bit of friendliness, but we'll have to find out. This is the... That's the, you know, the ones, they're, the Innu tribe who live in that place. Yes. Many evenings have been filled with the blissful sounds of the Skald and his tales, ranging from mythological sagas to recounting the deeds of present rulers. The Skald clearly knows a great many things about this world. Now, sitting with your courtiers in front of the fire, you begin to wonder whether you could get the Skald to stay longer. 50 admin points and a half-price stab cost modifier, man. I wish I knew he was coming earlier, because I've already stabbed up to 0. But yes, that is fantastic news, and we will, of course, be having him in our court with immediate effect. We are so close. We're so close. We can even stab up one more time right now. One more stab, and we are good. Here we go. The Stadacona natives have been improved relations with to the point where we can now send them an alliance offer. Connects to 140 relations. In a month, hopefully we'll be able to find something that isn't giving them a gift that will let us get that to 150. Unfortunately, we can't proclaim a guarantee on him. We are going to offer military access, which gets us to 150 and the mission complete. Forge alliances with the indigenous people of Vinland, the Skraelings, to ensure the colony's survival in this harsh environment. So I get production efficiency and diplomatic reputation for 20 years. Experience the trials and tribulations of love in the icy lands of Vinland, where passion burns as bright as the northern lights. gaining 30 prestige and some taxes and manpower for 25 years. Now all we need to do is save up some more admin points so we can restore hope to the colony. And I've also just realized that this Death Grip of Winter only applies between October and April. So it's not quite for a month. But now it is October, so we are going to start getting the +4. Food is scarce in the best of times, but in these winter months our supplies could not be lower. We've already run out of everything stored from the last harvest, and people are turning to foraging for berries and eating leaves and bushes, being unable to fish due to the oceans freezing over. Hunger is starting to set in, and soon no one will be safe from the icy grip of death. That's unfortunate. I am going to pop a point of development in, because otherwise I don't really want to go to 60. So we'll just go to 52, which is kind of crazy. However, if we wait just one more month, we can click this button right here. Which means we have restored hope to the colonies. Inspire hope and optimism among Vinland settlers, bolstering their determination to build a prosperous future in this new land. So I might gain some points, and I gain some admin, and also we have unlocked another mission. Harvest timber from Vinland's abundant forests to construct a fleet of ships, opening up new opportunities for trade and expansion. Give me naval maintenance modifier and minus 10% ship costs. And finally, what we need to do now is earn some money so that we can get rid of this horrific modifier. It might not be the most optimal way to go about getting some money. We could find a coast to raid if we went exploring a bit more, but I think our best bet here when it comes to making money is taking some really terrible loans. So let's start off with being indebted to the Borgerman. It's going to give us 30 whole ducats, and unfortunately it's going to be a case of spamming the 5 ducat loan button until we get 300 ducats, which sucks, but we gotta do it. And with one more loan, we now have 300 ducats and 49 loans of debt. Implement measures to gather and stockpile food for the colony, ensuring that Vinland's inhabitants are well fed and content. I lose 50 devastation in Leif's Bathir, which is pretty much all of my devastation. I lose that horrible modifier, and I get goods produced and national unrest reduction for 30 years. We are saved. The colony is saved. It's purely delightful. The Death Grip of Winter should not be giving us any more devastation. So hopefully with the monthly tick, that modifier that we see there is going to go away. And it does. Fantastic. I still got 4 from it, which sucks. But we are safe. The game over condition is no longer there. Now, on the other side of our mission tree, what we need is a consort and an heir, which I don't know how I'm going to get a consort, because I can't royally marry the Stedicona natives. So we're, I guess, just going to have to wait for one to randomly appear. And also I need to find some admin tech so I can get myself a temple or cathedral. Moving further down, I need to enact government reform Vinlandic Althing, so we can have a look at the government reforms in just a moment. Then I need to have 20 development in my capital, and then finally we need to earn 8 of each monarch point a month, and another government reform disorganized colony. Sorry, remove disorganized colony, my bad. So we will have a look now for Vinlandic Althing and see what we can see from there. So having looked through, it must be a case that Vinlandic Althing is something that I get from either an event like here, or some random event that will pop up, because it is not currently one of our government reforms, but right now we do have this disorganized colony giving us some horrible modifiers. So yeah, getting rid of this and becoming a Vinlandic Althing is going to be a top priority for us. So I guess we just wait until we manage to get ourselves some technology. Some feudalism would be nice. We have been developing, so it is coming. It's just going to take a while. I've also paid off all of my loans and been able to do them all very, very easily. Down to 16 ducats, we're making positive balance. The only problem is now I have a bunch of inflation, which I didn't really want. The plan is now going to be to get my Vinlandic explorer here to go and explore a bit of the coastline of the New World. And hopefully, if we find somebody that we don't like, we'll be able to get our ships and raid their coasts for some money. Because I'd like money. I guess we could also just talk to our friend here and ask for his maps of the American East Coast. But that's just water. That actually was probably bad. What I needed was maps of, I guess, colonial Canada or something along those lines. But maybe, I mean, we still have quite a lot of, you know, 16 prestige. So let us then get North Sunset Coast, I guess, is probably the best one. 44 provinces here. Karnataka is 36 provinces, so we could do that one as well eventually. But yeah, let's get that, which has given us a lot of vision, which is fantastic. If I was able to do the Hunt for the Seven Cities, then I wouldn't do that. Asking for maps or stealing maps from natives is bad if you can do that, but as our capital is in the New World, we can't do that anyway. So getting maps is still, it's good for us. And unfortunately, Mekmak's port is on the wrong side of the province, so I can't actually raid his coast, which is very annoying. Actually, I like the idea to raid coasts. I thought that was a Norse thing. Is it a government reform that allows you to raid coasts? It kind of must be. I can't even look at what these do. Okay, well, I guess you can go back to protecting trade, and I'll just explore for random reasons then. It has become evident over the years that the people that inhabit the lands of Vinland do not entirely align with the identity of the founding peoples. Rather than call themselves Icelandic, there's been a gradual shift towards a new, more unique identity. One unique to the peoples of Vinland and the lands that surround it. So right now, I am Icelandic culture. However, I could choose to maintain my traditional culture, but the province will still become Valkia, or I can embrace Valkia and have it be my new primary culture. So we're going to do that because that just seems kind of cool. Icelandic is now replaced by Valkia. I believe it is the same culture group. Yes, it's still the Norse group. So nothing in effect has changed all that much. But hey, Valkia is a pretty cool name, I guess. Despite having gotten rid of the modifier that would game over us, apparently we're still suffering from hunger issues. So we get another 30% devastation, which is unfortunate. It only increases by the cost to develop by 3, which is way less than I thought it was going to be. But, I mean, it's still kind of annoying. We don't want it. We're almost there with the feudalism. It's super necessary that we get this so we can start, you know, playing the game. Unfortunately, our queen has died. So now we have Ragnar Kvarnström as our new ruler. He's a 340 with mercenary maintenance cost, which I guess we'll see how that goes. Still no heir, still no consort, and even I had a look for this, by the way, allowing intermarriage with the natives. I hadn't seen it anywhere. Actually, maybe it's in here. Allow intermarriage with natives. Are you in here? No, and it's not in here either. So I'm not actually sure where that is supposed to be, because it's not here either. I had to look through absolutely everything, and while of course we do have our new things, the new buttons, we don't actually have allow intermarriage. So Where we get that, I don't know, and it's obviously we can't royal marry right now because of their government forms and our own. But I think right now what I want is going to be probably some trade efficiency and goods produced modifier from Njord. Probably going to be the best thing for us. Feudalism is now present in Leif's Buthyr, which means we can embrace the institution for 1 whole ducat. And literally it does nothing for us other than that. Now we need to, you know, wait and grab ourselves some technology. It's going to be a long period of speed 5, it seems. And we have a marriage. We have found Hildur. And we have married her, and also found ourselves Ragnar Kranström II. And he's a 135, so weak claim. Obviously, we've got low legitimacy right now anyway. Do we actually have enough for this? We have enough for this. But that means we have a mission fulfilled. Every person needs a supportive family. A good relationship should be fostered between our ruler, their family, and the court. Gives us advisor cost and an extra possible advisor. Now we just need some technology, and then we can build a temple and be happy. And here we go. We can finally take some technology. We'll take the temples. And I'm going to cancel these ships that I had queued up so that I can build myself a temple to the gods. Actually going to bring me quite a bit of money as well. I'm also going to grab myself some of the Diplotech. We're still behind in tech quite drastically, and I need to dev for Renaissance at some point, which is just agonizing, really. New World gameplay, don't you just love it? So I had been looking in the government reforms to try and find the Vinland thing, but it turns out it's actually in our decisions. We've been without proper government for too long. With first institutions blossoming and our population growing, it's only right that we establish an interactive democratic government under the guidance and leadership of the chief, of course. So we'll lose some admin points, we'll lose government reform progress, but I gain Vinlandic Althing Tier 1 government reform, giving me a parliament. I hate parliament, but also lowers some national unrest. So let's have a look at what we have going on now. Vinland Althing. It's still not exactly a good government, but maybe we can upgrade it in the distant future. Anyway, we will give a seat in the Thing to Leif's Buthyr. We also have our temple, however, unfortunately, we also need 30 prestige, and we have -4. So, it's a little bit unfortunate. But let's have our first debate. Prestige. Any prestige. 10 prestige. I like it. We'll go with this. And you want me to give you 4 diplo points. Fine. For now, Parliament is fine, but when you get larger, Parliament is just so unwieldy and annoying. And I just really dislike it. But yeah, that's for a future complaint, I guess. So I have a mission here, an agenda to increase my base tax to 14, give me 10 prestige. I currently have already done that, so there's my 10 prestige, and there is my mission complete. Also, I forgot that I had an edict on. We've got ourselves prosperity, which is very nice. Suffering has led many people turning away from the gods they once worshipped. Let us rejuvenate our faith in them and once more count our blessings. So, the faith in the gods vent. As the situation in Vinland grew ever more dire, many began to lose faith in the old Norse gods. We had been generous to them and supplied them with regular sacrifices, prayed day and night, and praised them at every available moment. Even our seers did not know why the gods had abandoned us, but now with things looking up and a bright future visible in the heads of many young Vinlanders, a renewed trust in the gods is sweeping over the land. Praise be the gods. So I get Tolerance of the True Faith and Admin Advisor costs for 20 years. Very nice. For a long time, our government has been disorganized and chaotic. Let us reorganize it into a formal Althing in the style of our Norse brethren, creating a new, smooth administration that we can build off of. So I get unrest down and province governing cost for the rest of the game. We get the Thing of Alir. Very nice. Our settlement of Leif's Buthyr was simple campsite. Now it's forming into a proper town, gaining me some monarch points. And now we have one mission left before I presume the entire mission tree will expand. I need 8 military points a month, and we will get the future of Vinland. So, how can I get that? I guess in 69 I can click this button. That'll get me to 7, and then I can promote him, or purchase myself a level 2 advisor. We do make enough money for that. I'll make you go down by 1, you'll stay the same. So yeah, it's going to be until 69 that we need to wait for that. And here we are in November 69. We can swap over and we'll get 798. Okay, I miscalculated. I need you also to be a +2. Let's grab Mr. Production Efficiency and we'll upgrade him. Now we're at 888, or 898 I should say. And we can become more than just a colony. Transform Vinland from a mere colony to a thriving settlement, attracting more settlers to fuel its growth. The future of Vinland will happen. Our land was settled long ago as a mere outpost, the furthest reach of a sprawling colonial empire. But we have become so much more than that. While our former comrades abandoned us to the elements, we have come out triumphant regardless, and shown that we are the masters of our own fate. Our future lies here in Vinland. We will create a new prosperous empire in the Americas, and eventually for the formation of the powerful Dagsatorland. It's the recommended and more flavorful path to pick. Or it will lead us back across the Atlantic to the shores of Scandinavia, where we'll compete for the formation of the mighty Encomaland. See, I can speak a little bit of Swedish, and I don't... Encomaland doesn't mean anything to me, so I don't know. Anyway, our future lies here in Vinland. We are taking the recommended and more flavorful path. And we have an mission tree expansion. But that will have to come in the next episode, because for right now, I am running out of time. So, thank you very much for watching. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you played as Vinland in 1.0, and are you going to give them another try in 1.1? Because apparently, a lot of new content has been added to this tag with the 1.1 update. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would be very excited to read them, and of course they do help me out quite a lot. Likes as well. Subscribe if you haven't, and you'll be able to catch the next episode of this. We'll be coming out in the next couple of days. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.